Former Trinidad government minister and football executive Jack Warner loses another round in his fight against extradition to the United States. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, June 11, 2019. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Jack Warner will have to go to the Privy Council to fight his extradition to the U.S. on fraud charges arising from the high-profile FIFA bribery scandal. 3 Court of Appeal judges on Tuesday upheld the decision of Justice James Abood in the High Court to dismiss Warner's judicial review lawsuit. Despite losing this round in his battle, Warner's extradition proceedings will not begin immediately. The appeal court judges granted a stay pending the filing of an appeal to the Privy Council, which is Trinidad and Tobago's highest appellate court. Warner, a former vice president of football's world governing body, FIFA, was among 9 officials along with 5 sports marketing executives indicted by U.S. prosecutors in 2015 on fraud charges, and American authorities had requested he be extradited to face the court there. But Warner had challenged the process by which the extradition proceedings against him were being carried out and sought to quash the authority to proceed, which was signed by Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi in 2016. Warner also challenged the legality of the Extradition Act and the treaty signed between the U.S. government and Trinidad and Tobago. But in its 40-page written decision on Tuesday, the Court of Appeal judges said the extradition treaty had not been shown to lack conformity with the Act, and there was no merit in Warner's case that the U.S. order, which declared that country as a declared foreign territory, was not valid. Warner, who is currently on $2.5 million TT bail pending the extradition proceedings, is charged with several offenses related to racketeering, corruption, and money laundering, allegedly committed in the U.S. and Trinidad and Tobago. But he claims the case against him is politically motivated, and he accuses the U.S. of seeking revenge because it lost to Qatar in its bid to host the 2022 World Cup. Trinidad and Tobago's main opposition, United National Congress, says it's prepared to take legal action to challenge government's planned amendments to the Freedom of Information Act. The government had said it would start debate on the amendment to Clause 7 of the Act that would allow for, among other measures, an increase in the time given to state entities to provide information to the public from 30 days to 90 days. But opposition leader Kamner Persad-Bissessar made it clear that if the amendments are passed, they will be challenged in court, as she accused the government of wanting to hide information in an election year. Persad-Bissessar said she had reviewed freedom of information legislation in 125 other countries, and they all had a reply time of 20 to 35 days. Attorney Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, who served as AG in a former UNC administration, says he will pursue both legal and public campaigns to ensure the amendments are not made into law. We get more from TTT's Mahalia Joseph Wharton.
At a media conference on Monday, Attorney at Law Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj said if the amendments are made law, they would obstruct, frustrate, discourage and hinder persons from accessing the Freedom of Information Act to obtain government-held information.
That the effect of these amendments can nullify the provisions of this act, can make the act a totally useless utility for people to get information, because it would discourage, it would delay, and people would be frustrated to take steps under the act to get the information.
The miscellaneous provisions, tax amnesty, pensions, freedom of information, national insurance, central bank, and non-profit organizations Bill 2019 seeks to amend the FOIA to extend the period in which a public authority is required to inform an applicant of its decision in relation to a request for information. The period would be extended from 30 to 90 days, and the Attorney General could authorize a further 90 days.
Every person has a right to seek information and to obtain information from the government, information which it holds. That information could be personal information to the individual, or it could be public information which the individual should know as a member of the public.
Mr. Maharaj said freedom of information is an essential component of the right to hold an opinion.
What the Freedom of Information Act does It assists people to get information so that if the government or the department is wrong, they can then file a case using the information they get in the Freedom of Information request.
He said the Act is an important tool in the fight against government corruption. He said the Act is also beneficial to members of the media who may be doing an investigative report. Mr. Miraj stressed that the amendments would create unreasonable and inordinate delays.
Well, the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago and several non-government organizations, including media houses, have called for more public debate on the matter. Staying in Trinidad and Tobago, with just 3 more days left in the amnesty program being offered to Venezuelans in the Twin Island Republic, citizens of the South American nation are rushing to beat the deadline. And on Tuesday, the registration process at the Queen's Park Oval had to be temporarily halted as hundreds of anxious Venezuelans became disorderly. National Security Minister Stuart Young visited the venue and, through an interpreter, appealed for calm and order. The 2-week registration process opened on May 31st, and speaking to the media after addressing the Venezuelans, the National Security Minister said the increase in migrants wanting to register as the Friday deadline approaches comes as no surprise.
Expected coming closer to the end of the process, there will be more people coming forward. We continue to do exactly what it is we have to do. There is not going to be any extension of the registration process.
A popular radio journalist in Haiti was shot and killed late Monday night as protesters continue to demand the removal of President Jovenel Moïse over allegations of misuse of funds associated with PetroCaribe. Police confirmed that the journalist was fatally shot in the capital. And the Director General of the Ministry of Communications, Calvin Cadet, had called for protection of journalists as he also condemned the attack against another radio station and a reporter who works for a state-owned TV station. Protesters have been blocking roads with burning tires, and on Monday they set fire to vehicles belonging to a radio station. They also chased down a presidential police backup unit they accused of firing on a crowd and killing a motorcyclist. The radical opposition, Democratic and Popular, which is among those organizing the demonstrations, said that since Sunday, at least 7 people have been killed, 147 wounded, and 70 arrested. But the police have said only 2 people were killed, 4 others were wounded, and there were 12 arrests as a result of the protests that followed the release of the report of the Superior Court of Accounts and Administrative Litigation on the management of the projects financed by PetroCaribe. That found significant shortcomings associated with the planning and implementation of development programs and projects funded by the PetroCaribe Fund during the administration of former President Michel Martelly. Before he came to power in 2017, President Moïse headed a company which received more than 33 million gourds to do road work funded by the PetroCaribe Fund, although the company in principle did nothing but grow bananas. The Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, will next Tuesday say whether or not it will reverse a Guyana Court of Appeal ruling that invalidated a no-confidence motion passed against the government in December last year. Informed sources have told CMC News that the CCJ, which is Guyana's final court, has set June 18th as the date to deliver judgment in the challenge brought by opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo. Jagdeo's appeal was among 3 matters on the no-confidence vote, which were consolidated by the CCJ. The other cases, filed by former government backbencher Chandas Prasad, who voted with the opposition in the no-confidence motion, and attorney Christopher Ram, were to determine whether or not a majority of 34 votes were needed to ensure the success of the motion in the 65-member National Assembly, where the coalition government had a 1-seat majority, and whether President David Granger and his government should have resigned and allowed for fresh regional and general elections within 90 days of the passage of the motion on December 21, 2018. When the government challenged the outcome of the no-confidence vote, the High Court ruled that 33 votes were required for the motion to pass, and the motion was therefore valid. But the Court of Appeal subsequently held that 34 and not 33 votes constituted an absolute majority. Ghana on Tuesday conferred its highest national honor, the Order of Excellence, on the visiting president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo. President David Granger presented the award at a state luncheon. The Order of Excellence is accorded to persons of distinction and eminence in any field with either national and international significance. Granger explained why the Ghanaian leader was given the award.
For his dedication and commitment to the Commonwealth, to the Organization of African Unity, to the economic community of West Africa, and for his unflinching support for the rights of developing states. President Akufo-Addo, a distinguished statesman, is recognized for his invaluable exertions in promoting economic security and stability on the continent of Africa, his steadfast dedication to regionalism, and his tireless efforts to promote the interests of developing states. Developing countries look to his continued leadership and stewardship in the protection of their gains and in securing their future. Guyana regards him as a dear friend and as a brother.
President Akufo-Addo received the award on the same day he arrived in Guyana for a two-day state visit aimed at deepening relations with the CARICOM nation. The 75-year-old, who will be visiting Trinidad and Tobago during his visit to the Caribbean, was met on arrival by President David Granger and given a full military welcome, including a 21-gun salute. He is the second Ghanaian leader to visit Guyana, following Jerry John Rawlings, who visited in 1984. Diplomatic relations between Guyana and Ghana were officially established on May 14, 1979. Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, St. Vincent and the Grenadines calls for reform at the UN Security Council. Stay with us.
New Women's Health Clinic was recently opened to the public. It's called the Pink Room, and it's located in Luido, next to the Tobago Emergency Health Services base.
A service is going to be like a one-stop shop. So we are screening. We have 3 doctors here. We have nurses. We do the screening. By the second visit, they will have the diagnosis rather than having several visits.
The clinic's main purpose is to improve women's health-related issues on the island.
The 103rd Indianapolis 500. There is no bigger day in motorsports for Honda Racing and everyone at HPD. Winning this race makes the entire year. This year, 18 Honda drivers in the field of 33, gunning for honors in the 500. The biggest day of the year in the world of Honda Racing, the 103rd Indianapolis 500.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines says it will work towards reforming the UN Security Council after being elected as a non-permanent member. Last Friday, St. Vincent became the smallest nation to be elected to the council and will begin its 2-year term in January 2020. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said Kingstown has been looking at the matter of reform, and many states in the UN are also interested in reforming organs of the international body, including the Security Council. He noted that the island would like to see consideration given for small island developing states to have a very special position on the council. The autopsies on the bodies of 2 Bahamian men found in a river in Turin, Italy last week have been completed. That's according to the Bahamas High Commissioner to the UK and Northern Ireland, Ellison Greenslade. He says officials have not yet shared the preliminary results with him or the families of Foreign Service Officer Alray Ramsey and a student of psychology, Blair Rashad Randy John, but he expects to get them soon. Greenslade, who is in Turin, says Italian law authorities are doing their best to get to the bottom of the Bahamians' deaths, and the investigations appear to be progressing well.
I am satisfied here on the ground that the investigation into the deaths of these two promising young Bahamian men is receiving the fullest attention of the Italian government and the law enforcement officials. This morning, Colin and Christopher Wright were able to view the body of their nephew, Alray Ramsey, and they were able to make a positive identification. On the 5th of June 2019, Miss Brittany John was able to view the body of her brother, Blair John, and she was able to make a positive identification.
The former General Secretary of Jamaica's opposition People's National Party, Peter Bunting, is defending his decision to challenge party leader Peter Phillips for the post. Over the weekend, Bunting confirmed his intention to try to unseat Phillips when the party holds its annual conference in September. He says the PNP's popularity has declined since it was defeated in the 2016 general election, and he's answering a call to serve. We get more in this TVJ News report.
Peter Bunting, the 1993 political neophyte who sent former JLP Prime Minister Hugh Shearer packing when Shearer was unseated in southeast Clarendon. And now time for another challenge, this time his own party president, Dr. Peter Phillips. Bunting took the stage in Manchester, ready to punch holes in arguments against his decision. Argument 1. Some say it's bad timing as elections are about to be called.
I don't see any logic why an election is about to be called. And, you know, anything can happen. But I really don't buy that at this time. But an election will probably be called next year. And that is why it is all the more urgent for us to get ourselves in shape.
He is hoping that the leadership challenge will energize the PNP for the next general election, which is due in 2021. Now to argument 2. Bunting has been planning the leadership challenge for a while. For him, there was no calculation.
I didn't go through every constituency and try and figure out how many delegates and whether somebody supported me or not, and, you know, try and add it up. Because arithmetic is an important thing for a politician. But not every decision you make is based on arithmetic.
Bunting claims he felt called to toss his hat in the ring.
And ahead in sports, the West Indies head coach laments his team's missed opportunity following the rain-abandoned World Cup match against South Africa. Stay with us.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
the boats first make a slow-moving lap around the course while aligning themselves up for a clean start. In the Crackerbox class of race boats, it is always customary for the driver and rider to wave as they cruise by spectators in this initial lap. The 66P Mr. Magoo has finished first, and the P111 Hooter in second. Both have earned high qualifying points.
For sports now, West Indies head coach Floyd Reefer believes Monday's rain-abandoned World Cup encounter with South Africa was a missed opportunity to take advantage of that side's current poor run-of form in the tournament. The South Africans entered the contest on the back of 3 successive defeats and under heavy pressure of expectations to turn around their failing campaign. And sent in at the Rose Bowl, they were tottering on 29 for 2 in the 8th over before rain intervened and eventually forced a no result.
Yeah, we were looking forward to the game, especially the start that we had in the game. And planning for the game last night, we were really looking forward to this game after they lost the first 3 games. So their confidence as a team will be a bit low. So we wanted to take a big advantage of that. But like I said, it's the weather. It's England. 90% rain today, so there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to, take the 1 point, like I said before, and look forward to the.
The Caribbean side has used its fast bowling attack to good effect in the tournament, blasting out Pakistan in their opening game in Nottingham before also having Australia on the run in their second game last Thursday at the same venue before tasting defeat. And Reefer said with the current confidence in the camp, there is no opponent the West Indies fears.
The way that we're playing cricket, we're playing fearless cricket, so it doesn't matter who we play. When we play them, we want to play the same brand of cricket that we're playing and what we executed, in the past couple of games.
To the women's game now, marquee batswoman Hayley Matthews says securing 2 points from Thursday's final game against England will be critical for West Indies, especially following heavy defeats in the opening 2 ODIs of the series. The Caribbean side suffered a 208-run loss in the opener at Leicester last Thursday, their heaviest ever defeat to England in an ODI, before going down by 121 runs under Duckworth-Lewis in Sunday's rain-affected second outing. And with just 1 more game on Thursday in which to salvage points and pride, Matthews said it was important the Windies gave it their all. She said, quote, "I think for us it's about going in there with a fighting spirit. Unfortunately, we weren't able to win either of the first 2 games, but we really want to go into that last game pushing hard. We know the talent we have in the dressing room, and I think it will be just for us to go out there and play our natural game, doing what we know we can do, and hopefully we can get a win and take 2 points off the last game." End quote. The 2 defeats have left West Indies 1 from the bottom in the 8-team ICC Women's Championship on 11 points, with hosts New Zealand and the top 4 teams gaining automatic qualification for the 2021 World Cup. Guyana has won the Utica T10 International Cricket Tournament after whipping North Tobago by 26 runs over the weekend. TV6's Vinod Narawani covered all the action at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in South Trinidad and filed this report.
Guyana was sent into bat by North Tobago in the Utica T10 final at the Brian Lara Stadium. After knocks of 18 from Trevon Griffith and 27 from Chandrapal Hemaraj, Christopher Barnwell and Anthony Bramble provided some pyrotechnics. Riyad Emrit picked up 2 wickets, including that of Barnwell for 44. Dwayne Bravo went for 26 from his 2 overs. Sloppy fielding from his teammate on this occasion didn't help in any way. Sunil Narain was among the wickets. Here he had Romario Shepherd stumped off a wide for 6. Narain took 3 for 33 as Guyana closed on 130 for 7 from 10 overs. Bramble made 25. In reply, North Tobago got a decent start from openers Mario Belcon and Sunil Narain. They put on 62 for the first wicket from 5.2 overs. Belcon was bowled by Shepherd for 22 and Narain then played on to the same bowler for 44. Karen Pollard belted a few on his way to 25 of 13 balls. Terence Hines was caught in the deep of the bowling of Kemo Paul for 1. all took 2 wickets, with Pollard being the second victim. Guyana were large and in charge. Bravo fell to Virasamy Purmall for 1. North Tobago were restricted to 104 for 5, giving Guyana victory by 26 runs, and with it, the title.
Staying with cricket, the Windward Islands have named a 14-man squad for this year's edition of the 50 overs regional under-17 tournament. Former West Indies youth cricketer Akeem Auguste, who led St. Lucia to the Windward Islands under-15 crown in 2017, is among 5 St. Lucians returning to the team. The others are Udell Prevel, Caleb Thomas, along with Boyce Paul and Ephron Charles, who are in the reserves. Windwards finished one off the bottom of the 16 table last year, ahead of only Jamaica after getting off to a strong start with a win over Guyana. Last year, Barbados captured the crown by 0.1 of a point in their final round against Trinidad and Tobago. And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
Major Lazer doesn't really do authentic Caribbean music, you know? It's a fusion. And I wanted to do the more authentic reggae, one-drop rhythms, some dancehall rhythms, some Spanish songs, things like that. So I've always kind of peppered the market with those things, but now this is my first actual album, and I feel really proud of it. The name of the album is A Bang. It drops June 7th.
All right, so now listen, now you're telling me about this family affair. Your mom might do it one day, but
One
your dad
day.
is doing it also?
Yes.
Wow, so you have a lot to look up to.
I do.
All right, so listen, you seem pretty busy. I just want to know, can you just paint a picture for me? What does your day look like? When you wake up in the morning, you got to brush your teeth, you got to take your bath. What does a typical day look like for TJ Sauce Kid?
Well,
Again, the major developments of this day. Former Trinidad and Tobago government minister and football executive Jack Warner loses his challenge to his extradition to the United States. He'll now have to appeal to the UK Privy Council. And in sport, the West Indies head coach Floyd Reefer laments his team's missed opportunity following the rained-out World Cup match against South Africa. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, subscribe to CondoNews.com. And for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.